In 1974 I was brought to Bhaktivedanta Manor, and it was after going to a pop festival, a low-level poor man's pop festival in the Queen's back garden in Windsor. I was impressed to see that they had a community, and of course a house that had been given to them by one of the Beatles, who were still famous at that time. Gradually over the course of many arguments, I came to the conclusion that they actually knew a thing or two. And they also told me to wait a few months, and our guru, our spiritual master, is coming, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and he will answer any of your questions. So I stayed. We were originally registered as a theological college, but of course when you have a shrine dedicated to Krishna, the public wants to come. And it was a very famous place because this messenger of Krishna had come from India, the very first person to put the stories of Krishna, the Bhagavad Purana, into the English language. And he lived here, and he translated his books here, so that made the place doubly famous.
I started practicing at home, joined the temple in Manchester. I came and did my preliminary training at the manor for a few months, and I went back to Manchester for quite a few years, 16 years. And then I came back to the manor in 2002. So from that time I've been spending time at the manor and also abroad as well.
You're managing director of Bhaktivedanta Manor at present.
Yeah.
Which departments are you mostly involved with?
Wow. Well, I mean, managing director's covers the whole thing, really. I try not to get involved in the details of things, but just try to assist and help everybody who's in leadership to move forward and achieve the objectives that they set for those varying areas. Personally, I'm very I guess I get quite overly involved in the gardens myself personally. I'm a bit overly involved in the farm a bit right now as well.
Here, this represents quite a unique type of dairy where the cow and the calf have a relationship. So this calf is less than 2 weeks old and the calf is still with the mother.
Yeah.
So he will drink as much milk as he wants, and then we will take the surplus. After 2 weeks, then we'll put the cow and the mother in separate pens, but he'll continue to drink milk for 5 or 6 months old. Now in conventional dairies, this is quite unusual for a cow and a calf to have this kind of nurtured relationship.
Yeah.
You often want to make other kind of arrangements, whereas for us we kind of work with this. This is how God created it, and it worked well for us. Mother is happy, calf is happy. This field is for the cows in between being a suckling calf to being a mother themselves, and also for those cows that are receiving medical treatment. So they won't be part of the dairy herd, they'll keep to their own little clique of cows. A certain number of your cows will require medical attention, which means that we as cow protectors have to make sure all that need and care is taken into account.
everyone at the manor is engaged in serving Hare Krishna. Those who are going out on book distribution, they're going out to maintain the manor and they're bringing guests. So if the guest comes, they get inspired, they think, wow, what a wonderful place.
Yeah.
Those who are working in the gardens, they see that the flowers that they're growing, they think, wow, what these flowers are offered. Those who are working with the Goshala, all at present, all our milk is all from the cows.
Right.
So everybody, no matter what you're doing, is towards serving Radha and Krishna. This requires a lot of people.
Yeah.
Volunteers, full-time devotees, employed devotees. Volunteers are coming weekends to help at the festivals. The other day you saw on a festival day all these extra garlands that people are making. Guests who come here, they find this place very peaceful, very, very serene. They think, wow, this is amazing. It's all teamwork.
I cycle down here with a friend of mine and we come by bicycle. And every Sunday we serve, it's a Sunday service. We're compelled to serve Krishna by working in the farm for the cows. The Krishna movement's very big on cow protection, and as a vegan, this is what has brought me here to volunteer, and it's a pleasure knowing that the cows are protected here, and to encourage this enlightenment throughout society, that cows are there to provide us with milk for as long as we look after them and take care of them, and there is no need to kill them for their meat.
There often is a question of whether people should be drinking milk. What is wrong is the calves being killed. What's wrong is the cows being killed. But drinking milk from a system where cows give milk, that is okay. But at the same time, we should try and do something else. We should try and move forward and establish a system where there are farms that don't have to kill the cows or don't have to kill the calves. But do something more practical for cows. Help cow protection projects. Help a cow, feed a cow.
This is the dairy kitchen, and I'm processing the milk once it's being milked. And the first step is to pasteurize the milk, which is a way of sterilizing the milk. That means kill the bacteria that's potentially dangerous for human consumption. Once the milk is pasteurized, I have to bring the temperature down because the next step is skimming the milk, i.e. separating the cream from the milk. And as a result, we get two products. One is skim milk, cream.
God created a system that milk is for the calf and for people. In fact, the majority of the milk is for people. So there's nothing intrinsically wrong with drinking milk from a cow. Now for us, because we have a protected herd where the cows now be slaughtered, it's more important for us to have more of the cows productive for longer periods of time.
Yeah, of course.
So roughly we find out that maybe 1/5 of the herd will be giving milk.
I really started to get to know the Hare Krishna devotees in Norwich. They were doing a program, Sunday feast program there, and book distribution. So I got a few books, and then I started to go to the feast and help out with preparing the feast. In about 2010, the devotees brought me, and I did a course, introductory course for women here, and I spent a few months living here. We were doing the morning program and then some service here, learning really the basic principles and the basic process.
I first came to Bhaktivedanta Manor in 1975. I'd been visiting the Hare Krishna temple in London in Berry Place for many, many years. The annual festivals that we have here at Bhaktivedanta Manor are 6 in principle. The general public actually come out here because there are so many activities for them. For the children, for the adults, the dramas, there are so many food stalls and prasadam stalls. So there's something for everyone here from the locality, whether someone's a practicing Hare Krishna devotee or not, or someone who just wants to know something, someone who's inquisitive.
I'm constantly inspired by everything that's going on here. It's so amazing. I did art since I left school, and I did a printmaking degree, and we did digital and traditional printmaking. And because of the spiritual aspect and because of the way I feel about the Bhakti Yoga and the process, it's so inspiring to be able to use my skills that I've learned in uni and art school in service to Krishna. So this is the most inspiring. It's like the pinnacle.
I was very fortunate that I went to a school that was just along from the Hare Krishna temple, which was in Edinburgh in Scotland, and that's where I first met the devotees. The temple there, that must have been about 1972, and I was only about 12 or 13 years old. I went there with a friend. And then with regard to the children, it wasn't until I had my own child in 1979 that then you become very conscious. So we decided we need to have a school. So we wanted to have our school. So we had a very small school here at Bhaktivedanta Manor. And they would have like normal education. We were governed by the Department of Education. And then they would also learn spiritual things. So it was very, very nice. And then I started to run the preschool.
Srila Prabhupada's mission for the UK was the same as his mission for all over the world. He said that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the incarnation of Krishna for Kali Yuga, and he had 2 orders. One was to accept the holy name of Krishna yourself and to distribute it to others. So Prabhupada had done that in his life. He asked his disciples to do that, specifically here in the UK. He said to travel throughout the British Isles, to distribute books, answer people's questions, give some free information, and to hold a program in someone's home, or in their school, or in their place of work, factory, wherever. In this way, to be without anxiety and to travel everywhere, and that Krishna would take care of everything else, and that we would meet people who would be interested.
On a daily basis, probably 300 to 400 visitors will visit the manor every day, and perhaps even up to 500-600 people in the summer itself. Weekends, of course, are very, very busy. Now on a Sunday here, probably close to 1,000 people are here in the winter, and in the summer probably about 4,000 people will be visiting here. And equally, schools from around the country will come here on a daily basis to learn about Krishna consciousness, culture, the values. And about 20,000 school children visit here every year from across the countries. These are amazing schools, and they've been coming here now for close to 30 years.
This is an eco-garden, environmental garden. Every year 200 school groups come to visit this garden and they can learn about the environment. And how it's linked is that all the food we use is actually being diverted from landfills that would normally be polluting the environment. So we divert 10 tons of food every week, and that's perfectly good food, and that goes to serve the homeless community and the students. So we won a project, environmental project of the year for the national award, and so that helped us, get some recognition and get some support from different groups and organisations. Well, years ago, when I used to be in the Soho Street Temple, and the restaurant would close at 8 o'clock, so we'd mix all the vegetables, rice, everything together, mix it all up, and then we'd take a van and we'd go out and feed the homeless. So starting from there, and then later we set up a charity, so we have our own accounts and make our own plans, and then we can expand to whatever way we can. So it started in doing that in about 98, setting it up officially. It's about 12 devotees full time, and then probably about 16 volunteers. Some come 1 day a week, some come 2 days a week, some chop a few vegetables, some help in the garden, some, so they're doing what they can.
I love the community of Bhaktivedanta Manor because it's very, very broad. I mean, it's a beautiful estate, it has a wonderful history, it's beautiful deities, but it's a tremendous resource for everyone.
Were you part of planning the George Harrison garden here at the Manor?
When George Harrison passed away, we were thinking that we should further mark his memory here somewhere at this temple as he gave it to Srila Prabhupada, and to again respect that relationship that he had directly with Srila Prabhupada. And then there was somebody interviewed Paul McCartney, and Paul McCartney had said if somebody really wants to do something for George, they should do a garden. George Harrison considered himself foremost as a gardener. He says it himself, more than anything else, a gardener. And so he thought, oh yeah, we should do a garden. Why don't we do a garden? And so the garden, as you'll see it today, is literally the journey to Krishna, and it's solely in the lyrics of George Harrison. Like here, it said, you are the breath of life. So when you enter the garden, you come to the first stage of faith, or Shraddha, which is the bridge, really, and which mentions, awaken and see. And that song George sings, by chanting the names of the Lord, you'll be free. By chanting the names of the Lord, you'll awaken and see. And the garden concludes with Sambhog, and the final point, which in Harrison's lyric is just, I'm so happy I found you. So the whole mystical journey of Krishna consciousness is wrapped up in this little garden here, entirely as it's found in the contemporary lyrics of a pop star.
At the Manor, I get a chance to associate with devotees in the ashram. We can exchange our experiences, and this is very nice. When I'm travelling, I don't get that opportunity. More than anything, a little bit of time to study and go on walks, the same as Srila Prabhupada did. It's very nice countryside with many country walks, and do a little bit of extra chanting. So this helps to balance my life so that I feel I'm getting a little bit of everything. Yes, when I get the time, I go to Prabhupada's rooms. They're very nicely kept, and it reminds us of when Prabhupada was here, nice and peaceful.
Srila Prabhupada, he also said that in England the local people would be very much attracted to theatre, so that we should use music and theatre to attract the British, because they had taken music and theatre all over the world. Of course, he mentioned gorgeous festivals, and a festival for Prabhupada meant some theatre, lecture, feast, vegetarian food, prasadam, an opportunity for people to join in with kirtan, enthusiastically done. He had been born in an India that was dominated by the British, and he wanted to give something back to the British by bringing the best thing that India had and sharing that with the West. And England was very important to him, as it was important to his guru. His guru, Bhaktisiddhanta, had kept a map of London on the wall of his headquarters. Christianity is also a Middle Eastern faith. Our faith is ostensibly from a little further east, so that it's accepted by a generation of people. It's just being one alternative that they can take to.